works were kind of singular, black and white, and this is equivalent to black and white. It's just blue ink on light blue paper. But in the late 1990s, 7 or so years into the series, it began changing dramatically. I did 2 life-size drawings of a 11, 12-year-old boy and girl, also from Warsaw Ghetto photographs, and then I did this. And I'd never done a mosaic before. It was all trial and error. In some ways, I had no idea what I was doing, which some people may find interesting. As an example, so the drawing was done on the wall of my old Pioneer Square studio on a rectangular sheet of paper. At some point, I decided to cut it into the shape, and I decided to make a mosaic, and I mounted it on plywood, and I built this kind of wood frame and pieces of wood all around it. And then the drawing was done, and then I did the mosaic. Not having done mosaic, and not having even taken a course, I went to Lowe's or somewhere. I bought like a 2-part epoxy, which comes in tubes, and a complicated gluing mechanism. You see all this yellow here on the ear? Maybe the people up closer can see that. Conservatives may be rioting about this in 50 or 100 or 200 years. I'm not going to have to worry about it. But all the epoxy kind of oozed out onto the drawing. So when we get upstairs in a couple of minutes, I'll show you how I solved that with the 4 mosaics I've done since. We have 1 large mosaic up there. This is called Young Man with Star of David Armband in the Warsaw Ghetto. And you got all this different imagery going on. Most of which I took from a book I got from the library, black and white photographs taken by Polish Catholic and Polish Jewish architectural historians in the 1920s and 30s had gone around Poland, Lithuania, drawing and photographing, black and white photographs, all these wooden synagogues. And I spent years in art college, and art history classes were required. You learn all about the synagogue building. It's inside the museum. So something to check out. I'm hoping that I haven't been back to Poland myself since 1985, but I'm hoping to go visit again sometime in the next couple of years. So if you get a chance to look at all this closely, you'll see there's birds like a cello or violin, architectural buildings, an elephant. All these things from black and white, like frescoes, wall paintings that were on the photographs of these wooden synagogues that were all burned down by the Nazis. You'll notice when you walk by this, there's like it's like in the shape of an orthotic, like a shoe insert with all this Hebrew writing on it. Another book I checked out at the library called The Last Jews of Eastern Europe, published in the mid-1980s. And they had a photographer and writer had gone around, especially the small towns in places like Hungary. And you see someone's, actually I may have this here. A resident of the town holding this. I had it before. Is there a laminated thing down that way, by chance?
No.
Okay. Trina mentioned that about the trains, it wasn't like people were seated in trains and like seats and stuff. There were cattle cars that prisoners were transported in. Day and night, summer, winter, freezing, baking, no water, no food. Bodily functions were done right there in the car, and were packed in with dozens to hundreds of other people. This is the photograph of the man that I did. Why don't you come closer, please? I want everybody to be able to see what I'm talking about. So people can come around this way, where you got like 4 or 5 here. So back in when this was